It's the Modern Fowler Scrum with Sam and Matt. And what has been going on? I can recall that I was just in a pairing session with Ryder where we uncovered 2 new blocks, which is, what pairing sessions are all about. One, we tried hooking up the Jitsi, the Agile Ventures Jitsi's 2 Paranauts, and discovered there is a problem with the embedding there. It's not quite working out of the box. So another thing that works for the shared meets Jitsi is not working for our particular thing. So that's added to the list of things we're blocked on. We also looked at coherence, which is kind of the devise equivalent from the Rails world, or coherence is for the Elixir Phoenix world. And yeah, we installed that and encountered some problems. So another block. There were various things that make us a little bit nervous about it. I think it's not, what's the word? It's not as stable as devices in the Rails world. Everything's all new and fresh with Elixir and Phoenix. But so we've got it installed, and then there was like a migrations failure that we haven't uncovered. So yeah, so those are 2 blocks there. Before that, we had the web dev mob. We were reviewing stuff from the Odin project. We made some changes to Mozilla specs. It's all about cascading style sheets and inheritance and that stuff. And we're working through the learning outcomes for the basic HTML and CSS things from the Odin project to check that we've all understood what we've been learning about there. So that was good fun. And back up to nothing else since the previous Scrum, apart from me taking the time yesterday to reboot my computer. Hopefully to speed it up a bit. And yeah, I've just got, I feel there's a series of paperwork issues that I need a spare day or at least an afternoon to get to, and I'm not going to get them today because it's my meeting Friday. I have meetings and fun things to do. So I'll have to work out some kind of timeshare on Sunday or something. Yeah, there we go. That's about the size of it. Matt, how are things with you?
Things are good. Yesterday I paired with Peter.
Oh, cool. Right. Jav Pet, I think is his.
Yeah.
Is that yeah? Oh, cool.
Yeah, his handle. Yeah, he put an event up there about the CS 169 because we're going through that on the weekend, but we're going a little bit slower. Like we're still kind of getting, and we're trying not to leave people behind. And like a couple of us have already done that part, but it's still fun to play with it. And like I was telling you before, like I've done the Code Academy stuff, but then it's different when you've already used the methods, or the blocks and stuff. And then, but he was a little bit ahead of me. He had already started the homework for the Sinatra, and he was on part 4 or 5. And I hadn't even started part 0. So yeah, I went back afterwards and I started that, and I'm on part 1. And yeah, I wouldn't say I'm blocked, but I'm currently trying to get my head around the word with guesses method that it doesn't take any parameters. So I'm trying to, and yeah, I was just thinking that it seems like that when the guesses, the instance variable guesses, seems like it needs to be initiated with some underscores for depending on the length of the word. But
right.
Yeah. Going through that, and blockers, not anything block. Yeah, I guess that I still have that thing that I haven't figured out yet about that project where it's yeah, I don't know. It makes I feel a little stupid, to be honest, because it seems like something so simple, but like that project that I'm talking about where you push on the button and then I have some JavaScript stuff going on, jQuery stuff going on, where it changes the amount of the sale or the total of the sale, and then that actually fills it into the input field, so that when I actually create the sale, it actually creates with the total. But for some reason, when I try to do the same thing for well, I think I know why, not for some reason, but when I try to do the same thing for the name of the product, it doesn't actually create the sale with the name of the product. And I think it has to do with, I think it has to do something to do with associations. But then I was trying to think if that's something I should be even doing in jQuery, or if it's something that when the person clicks on the button, it sends it actually calls a method that creates that new product and then instantiates it as part of the sale. But then the sale doesn't actually exist yet because the person hasn't created sale, you know?
Yeah.
And I had it where it was going to a method, and then in that method, it was creating a new sale, which is cool. And then it was putting that product as in that new sale, and that was working. The only thing is that every time a person clicks a button, it goes to that method again, which creates a new sale. And so then it doesn't actually add it.
Right, you're trying to handle an update case rather than the new creation.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think that with there's the kind of thing where with what's the word? Yeah. I mean, or in the back. So while you would explain that, I was also just pulling up the word with guesses to get the context of the Sinatra one. And so that's actually a method that we worked through in different ways of doing that in one of the agile dev mobs recently. So we could talk about that later on in the mob today, depending upon what the focus is. Although because we moved on to the Rails intro assignment, and that I think that's a common kind of issue that you're there struggling with in that that app for managing the sales. It's I mean, there's often the question of where is the logic supposed to be happening for managing these things? Is it all manipulating it in jQuery, or should it be on the other side? I mean, I think. Again, there's also there's that, getting to the bottom of it is part of the process of debugging it. But I mean, it sounds like I imagine that. I guess more distressing for me is you hearing you say, that you feel stupid for not being able to solve it. But I think these things they're sort of tricky, and it's sort of the debugging. I mean, we were stuck for the other week 2 hours on this is Elixir Paranauts for it was like a spelling mistake with a capitalization. And it just there's so much going on. It's I mean and as you go on, you get kind of more these techniques and heuristics and whatever, but there's still the opportunity to be stuck on something which is a potentially simple oversight. So
the other thing is I just thought of right now is in that method, instead of, because there's a method in Ruby called find or create by. Essentially the first time the person clicks on the button, maybe it could create a new instance of that sale, and then the second time it goes through, it finds it by the ID, and then so it doesn't do anything, it just actually pushes so I don't know, but that's the thing,
go on.
Do you think it would be weird to have a button that has, when you click on it, has two different things going on at the same time? It triggers a Ruby method and triggers a jQuery. Is that common, or is that?
Well, I mean, it's certainly not uncommon for if you to click on a button, some JavaScript processing to happen, right? And which might be validating things, changing things in the page, and then there would be an AJAX request to the Rails server, and then things would happen on the Rails server. That's perfectly normal.
Right.
I mean, I think that the where that gets complicated is that you can have the situation where you've made some changes into the page, and then you're also making the changes to the server, and potentially they get out of sync, and then you reload the page and it's different. And so there's an argument to say that there's two different models there. One is that the button, it doesn't make changes in the page. The button hits back to the Rails server where the changes are made, and then the page completely reloads. And that means that whatever's on the page is a reflection of how the state of the world on the Rails server, or that you don't immediately make those changes on the page. You kind of you do that AJAX request back to the server, changes it, and then that AJAX request responds with a blob of JSON, and then the jQuery receives that and uses that JSON to update the page to be appropriate for the state of things on the server, and that keeps things. And the follow up from that is eventually let's have a every interaction with the Rails server is a AJAX request or WebSocket request, and everything comes back as JSON, and we never send pre-rendered and laid out HTML from the Rails server, and becomes a standalone app, if that makes
Yeah, that makes sense. I've actually used in the same for the same problem. I actually used an Ajax request that returned to JSON that was basically looking for the products by their name, and that was working. It was like putting tags on them. It was like an autocomplete search that put for with select to. I don't know if you've ever seen that, gem, but that was working, and that was actually creating the products. But then I ran into the problem of like, what's the quantity of the products and what's the amount, the price of each of them, and updating the amount. But then, so I kind of went in a different direction with just the buttons. But I guess, yeah, that's a great idea.
Cool. All right. Well, that's, I think, our Scrum.
Yeah.
There's we're in that swimmy after Scrum place. Yeah, I think we've touched on all the points. Yeah, we should go and like get ourselves ready for the React mob.
Yep. Cool.
Nice
See you
one.
in a couple minutes.
Good to see you, Matt. Bye for now.
Thank you.